everybody. Welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. It's our first one of 2013. I'm Matt Connerton here with the Honorable Gary S. Hopper and his hand grenade.
I got my hand grenade.
Only one. Where's the other one? You usually have two. Usually two fists in it.
I don't know. I was just feeling kinder, gentler mood tonight.
That's
so I only
nice.
brought one in.
Kinder, gentler for the new
Yes, yes. With my less than humane hand grenade.
That is the pineapple one, yes.
Right, exactly.
So if you're allergic to pineapple, one of these blows you up. You're extra screwed.
Yes, you're extra dead.
Yes, extra dead.
You're not only dead, you're extra dead.
Yes. Now made with extra dead.
Extra death. What?
I just never realized
What?
the pineapple hand grenade was more deadly.
It's inhumane. No, after World War II, you should know this stuff. You're a Republican,
After
right?
World War II?
Well, he's here to learn.
Oh, he's here to learn?
Yeah, I assume.
He learned a lot from me on judiciary. We're on the judiciary committee today. He learned
Oh, really? Yeah.
together. Yeah, he
Yeah.
learned a lot from me.
Taught me everything I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. So, and didn't want to know for that matter.
That's right.
So, no, the after World War II, the pineapple-type grenade was deemed inhumane. Apparently, you can have a humane hand grenade. I don't know if it just like when it goes off and there's like little bubbles and
Fairy dust.
Fairy
Maybe it
dust.
sings the Lord's Prayer to you as it blows you up.
Maybe that would be good.
That's kind of nice.
That would be
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right?
But anyway, so that's when they went to the lemon-shaped ones they had in Korea, which were actually more deadly because they had used a lot better powder and stuff compared to the World War II ones. But
See, I always like the ones on combat the Germans had, like the candlepin bone.
yeah, those are
pretty
cool.
cool.
Those were cool. I remember watching F Troop.
Molotov cocktails.
Well, you can still get those.
Yeah, you can make those. You can make yourself.
Yeah, the German ones, they look like a bottle, right?
Yeah. Well,
No,
no.
it looked like a
You're
candlepin
really far
bone.
away from your mic. There you go.
about that.
Just want to make sure everybody can
Oh
hear
yeah, I
you.
got to introduce the guest.
Testing one, two. Testing.
Matt.
Yes, yes.
Our guests are Pete Silva. He was how many terms were you up there? Two.
I did
Four?
two.
Two.
2 terms.
2 terms. He's a
2
two-term
tours of
loser.
duty.
Okay.
Yeah,
Big time.
big time. And John Heichel, who's just not smart enough to not run again.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. He's
Well, we
basically-
came in together. He's just here
That's
another
right, we
term.
started together.
They were Frenchmen together.
John's our most frequent guest, I think.
He is?
Right? This is your, what, fourth time on this show?
Oh, I think so, at least.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
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 You used to have hair before you came on
I
here,
did. I
right?
used to have hair.
Yeah. But
I remember that, yeah.
That's right. His
Yeah.
first show, he had a full head of hair.
I
Yeah.
had, every time I come into this building, it's a new experience. Tonight I said, somebody was coming up I was passing somebody in the elevator, and they said, where you going? And I said, well, I'm going up to the TV station. And they go, well, Education Channel is on 3. And I go, well, that's not the one.
That wouldn't be it.
No, that's not
That's certainly not it.
I must be going to 4 then.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
be
you
going
know,
to the fourth
no
floor.
way you're doing educational stuff.
Right.
Not in this building
Right.
or this room.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't the 3rd floor when he said that was education.
Yeah.
So, Uncle Pete, you were in a very strange district this year. You had some strange things going
Yeah.
on in your district. You want to educate the...
Well, you know, the thing is I guess what goes around comes around. So my first term, I was part of the super district
yeah.
for the first 2. So we had 3 wards, and it was the biggest one in the city, obviously, of Nashua. And when I first got in, there was only 5 Republicans, and there was 23 Democrats
In the same ward.
in the
same
all the
district.
city. But in my ward, there was just myself and Pam Price, just 2 out of the 5.
Okay.
My second term, we ended up with, there was 10 slots, all 10 were Republicans. And in the city, there was 22 Republicans and 6 Democrats.
The entire town of Nashua, really?
Flopped for the first time in history. The Senate, both Senate seats went
Right.
to Republicans. For the one that Gary Lambert held was the first time in, I believe, was 70 years.
Wow.
So it was a complete flop. And then this time, the same thing happened.
That's what I don't get. I don't know what's going on in the voters.
Executive Council in Nashua?
Everything.
Everything.
Telly?
It was-
Everybody did.
Everybody.
That-
But what I don't get is what's going on in the voters' mind that it was after Obama got elected, then he started doing the health care. He pushed health care through against everybody's wishes except his own. And people got really upset about it. And I think that had a huge effect on our state election. That whole the whole Tea Party thing, and we booted all the Democrats out of office. We ended up with a super majority, 300 to 100, and complete domination in the Senate. And then we reduced the budget by 11%. We did all the things we actually said we were going to do,
Right.
and then they kicked us out.
Well,
Why?
I don't have the actual facts of this, but there are some numbers that kind of back up what I'm about to say. One thing we did, as you know, is we went after right to work. And
Right.
of course, the largest employer in the state of New Hampshire is the state of New Hampshire.
Right.
So when you take on Goliath like that and you don't kill him, he's going to come back after you. They targeted the cities. You guys all did well in the towns. We pretty much held the towns. Nashua and Manchester got clobbered
Right.
because of a lot of union support. My wife stood next to a fireman from Chester, New Hampshire, holding signs all day at Nashua, because not all day, they had 2-hour shifts that the lieutenants made him do. If they didn't do it, that he was worried about having consequence. Didn't even know the person he was holding the sign for.
Right.
And he was a Republican, but he was a fireman, he was holding a Democratic sign. That's A. B, in the cities, we have tons of apartment dwellers, especially like in my ward. In my ward, there was 1,000 same-day registrars, which there was only 4,700 registered voters with 1,000 the same day. I looked at a lot of the sheets, all apartments, 99%. And so the Democrats did a great job of getting their message out. You know, they scared them that the kids were going to lose their college benefits, that the people were going to lose their cell phones and all the other stuff. And they were saying, I could tell that day the voting makeup was not the makeup that I was used to in that ward before.
Yeah, we had Dan Donovan's wife. I was talking to her after the election. She had Deering. She was standing in the signs, and she was close enough to the Democrats to hear them. And she said all these new same-day voters in her town, they were coming in to talk to the Democrats. Yeah, I heard I was going to lose my Social Security if I didn't
Yeah,
come out and
it's-
vote. And young women, I'm not going to be able to have an abortion if or lose all my reproductive
Yep.
rights if I don't vote. And it's like they just hit them where they're scared the most, apparently. And
It's amazing, though, that the population is that disconnected with what's really happening in reality.
right,
To believe something like that and not know that that is not true or isn't going to happen.
just a scare tactic.
It's just amazing. Yeah, it's amazing how scared people can get and how quick that can happen.
Well, do you think some of that too is a result of what happened nationally with some of what happened? And John, we talked about this last time you were on, actually, when what happened to the Republicans nationally and some of the, if you want to call it a caricature or whatever. But I mean, I would assume that a lot of that would have an influence also locally here, where
Yeah, if you are only looking at politics for the last week, so you can decide who to vote for, and you'll hear a couple snippets here and there of what, so you would fall into believing the caricatures.
So I think it was, from my perception, it was more of a steady trickle over time. I mean, you've got, somebody's talking about forcible rape versus legitimate rape, and then you got another guy talking about
Right.
abortion in a way that upset people a couple of months later or whatever. I think all that, it had
Oh,
a
yeah.
definite snowball effect. And
Well, I said before, and it's nothing against you guys or me before, if you walk down the street right now in Manchester and ask them to name, there's, 36 reps here, have them name 3. If they
No
get
way.
past Lou D'Alessandro as a senator, that's probably about it, maybe Valancourt.
Maybe Valancourt.
But
yeah.
that's it. So what happened is, as a matter of fact, ironically, in my ward, this time it was because of redistricting. I was in my own ward. There's no more super districts. I had, I believe it was 200 and some odd, almost 300 more votes than I've ever had in any other election. And I still lost to the, there was 3 seats.
Yeah.
So I came in 4th, so the first Republican. But I still lost by almost 400 votes to the closest Democrat who never campaigned, who never did anything. So it had nothing to do with
They weren't voting against you. They were voting for Democrats.
D's right down the line.
Yeah.
And to your point, it's just national.
yeah.
And John, to your point, how do they know? If you don't watch Fox News, the media is so lopsided that it's just beyond belief in every aspect, in my opinion. They just get the one side of the story. So if you pick up the USA Today and you watch Good Morning America, and my sister-in-law says she watches Jon Stewart for her news, there's your problem. I mean,
Well, John, I think Jon Stewart's actually good.
I'm a huge fan, actually.
Only
I
by
love
virtue of the
Daily Show.
fact that I think he's at least intellectually honest. I disagree with him on everything he says, but he's honest about it. I don't think he's like some of the newscasters are just absolutely lie. You know what I
Plus,
mean?
you're going into that kind of thinking he's a comedian, but if you're doing, if you're Diane Sawyer, you're not supposed to be a comedian.
Right, right.
Right.
I said it all the time as a kid. I never knew that Walter Cronkite was a flaming liberal till the guy retired. He reported the news.
Right.
Here it is. This is what happened.
Right.
Now it's, forget it.
No, they're not even close. It's not even close. I mean, you just watch what happened after that shooting in Connecticut, and everything is about the guns they used. And it's funny because the first reports came out and said he only used handguns,
Yeah.
and that the rifle was in the back seat. Then all of a sudden, the rifle was inside the building. I don't quite how that magic
They're
happens.
going to make, well, you saw what happened to you guys in the State House. So Obama's going to make a big move on guns.
Big time.
Big move.
I disagree. I'm really skeptical about that.
Really?
I don't think he has the nerve. I think the NRA is the most powerful
Well,
lobby in Washington.
maybe.
I really,
No.
I don't-
Einstein's already has already got it all written up, and as soon as it-
I think they're gonna do that for show to make their liberal base happy, but they know it's not going anywhere. I'm really skeptical.
I'm starting to learn, and I don't disagree with you, but I'm starting to learn that the sides of the NRA, for instance, or other lobby groups, there are some major lobby groups, and it seems as though, they profit big time on bad news.
Yeah.
So, so I don't put it past any group to enjoy the bad news because their membership and their dues and all of the things that's going to benefit them are going straight up right
Sure.
now, including
Right.
especially the NRA. And then and they understand the curves and the cycles of things, and so sometimes it almost feels like they're willing to sacrifice some progress for a whole bunch of memberships and a whole bunch of support. I see it in the State House with some of the lobbyists there too, and I clearly asked them, why would you not want to support that? When I had that bill to put liquor in grocery stores, I was working with the grocers lobbyist, and his assistant said, but this is really all that we've got. If we don't have this, then we don't have any issue for the grocers. So when he told me that, it automatically lit up, and then I started putting that across the board with all the other lobbyists. And he's right. If we would have gotten liquor in grocery stores, then they would have had
Nothing to complain
They'd be
about.
obsolete.
They would have put themselves out of business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as much as they acted like they wanted to support it, I'm not sure they really supported it.
That's a really good insight. Yeah.
Because the NRA memberships are, I don't know if they're 50,000 a day or 5,000 a day, but if you check out the numbers, they're huge.
Sure.
The memberships right now are, everybody's just running to join and pay their NRA dues.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go by a gun shop right now, it's like packed.
I just stopped by Legends in Bernardville, right across the street from my repair shop, and no multi-mags for the ARs.
Right.
He can't get speed loaders for revolvers. He's totally out of AR-15s. And,
Yeah.
and
So they benefit too. The gun industry benefits.
Yeah, but the local guy doesn't have that much to do with anything. He's just benefiting.
Right.
they're benefiting, but they can't get stock. So I don't know how much that benefits if
Right.
you can't
Right.
get anything to sell.
Yeah. True.
So I think a lot of this stuff is events.
Yeah, but it's events. But we're talking about, does it make? I think Matt's initial question was, does it make a difference when the Democrats take over? The first thing they did today, last month, everybody is sworn in and swore to uphold the Constitution. John did a nice job presenting that argument up at the well today. They swore to uphold the Constitution.
Right. And they
You have to
violated it.
sign your name. I swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of New Hampshire, and that's like the first thing you can do before you can vote on anything.
Yeah.
Right.
And the first real vote that we took was today, and the first real vote they took was to get rid of guns in the
And
legislature.
they violated their oath, and they basically lied to the people. They signed this oath. I've got it here. Before His Excellency the Governor and Honorable Council, I, John Hickle of Goffstown, do solemnly swear that I will bear faith and true allegiance to the United States of America and the state of New Hampshire, and will support the Constitution thereof, so help me God.
Right.
And then there's another one underneath it. And I signed these, and I said, this tells me that I'm supporting the Constitution of the United States and of New Hampshire, that contract that protects the people from the government. And that is the contract that was written by the people to protect the people. And then the Bill of Rights is just another set of, it just makes it a lot more clear that we said this, but we're going to say it again because we really want you to get this part about freedom of press and freedom of expression and the right to bear arms and so
Etc.
forth.
Yeah.
So I mean, but the first thing they did, and that's what I brought out when I was talking about that. They lied. They clearly lied. And I think there's 4 Republicans that went along and
There's only 4 Republicans voted against. 4 Republicans voted to restrict the gun laws.
Gargas, Crawford, Fields.
What about Valancourt?
Valancourt voted against it. Lockwood in Merrimack County. Dave Kidder, Merrimack County. The normal ones that you obviously would have expected. So there's. It was 196 to 153. 196 2 weeks ago signed that they would uphold the Constitution, and today they violated their oath, as far as I'm concerned, and they lied to the people that put them into office.
Yeah.
So, but what do you do with this?
That's always been my argument, though. Since when I first got into the whole legislative process, if you don't believe in something, you don't care if you lie about it. Everyone just keeps running around with the Constitution this, Constitution that. Over half those people in that chamber don't believe in the Constitution at all, unless it pertains to them to help them. They don't care about it.
They don't know what the Constitution is. They never picked the book up.
They
have
don't
no
care.
idea.
Just like they don't care. When you say "So help me God," well, if you're a secularist, what do you care about God? Well, I want to take a poll of the Democrats that are atheists. So what does it mean to them? They don't care.
Right.
What do I care? So when you base your whole thing on that, it's.
Are we making the generalization though that Democrats generally are atheists? I mean, or is that?
No, he's
what
saying
we're
if
assuming,
they
or-
are,
Yeah.
why does this mean anything?
I've known Republicans who are atheists.
Yes, I do too.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I just wanted to
if you
clear up.
are, I'm just saying, in any of these liberty issues, it's the definitely left that did it, is they became secularists. They took religion out of school. They did a great job in that. You do all these different things that have been going on for years to demoralize our country. That's what they've done. I remember on the whole gay marriage thing. I said to them, and I say it right now, I challenge anybody who's born before 1980 to tell me this is a better place to grow up in than when you were a kid. It isn't. In summer times, like the old saying, when you came home, the streetlights came on. Half the time you ate dinner at your neighbor's house. Name your neighbors now.
Right.
Especially where I live in the city. But it's the whole thing has changed, and they've done a really good job of slowly
Eroding everything.
Look what they do with Christmas. I mean, all of it.
Yep.
It's the whole thing like that. They've done a very good job at it.
Yeah, our country.
They destroyed the family, and then now they're successfully destroying the Constitution.
Right, and they're taking our money and our wealth right out from under us and giving us this paper that we think we can pay things off with, but we're really not paying.
Because we have to be politically correct.
Right.
And that's what I said it with the Obama thing. It was a classic example. That's how the guy got in. That's why he's president right now. Because everyone's afraid to say anything because you'd be a racist if you say anything against them.
Well, yeah, I think that the example of that is like the third debate. Basically, Romney just let the ball go.
Let it go.
I mean, he had the Benghazi thing. He should have rammed that so
I
far
argued
down his
about
throat he
that.
couldn't see straight. Nope, he just sat back and thought, it's okay. Yeah, I would have done everything he did. Really? That's it?
And the vice president candidate last night voted for the this fiscal cliff that we were talking about. He voted yes.
Yeah, Ryan did.
Ryan did?
Yeah, Paul Ryan voted yes last night. I mean, this is where, I'm a Republican and I'm a member of the GOP, and but I'm questioning a lot of things about that at this point.
Somebody said to me back in the, I think, early 90s, a friend of mine said, well, the only difference between Republicans and Democrats is...
the spelling.
Democrats are Republicans in a hurry. And it seems like it's, pretty much that's it.
Right.
Like you say, at the national level, they just capitulated completely. Because public opinion, quote unquote, has no trust of Congress, so therefore we want to get reelected again, and that's more important than anything else, and we're gonna capitulate and add more taxes and no spending cuts.
Charlie Bass voted yes. Amazing. I mean, it just.
Yeah, the only one would seem like in our delegation that voted against it was Gunta.
Yeah, he did. And
He's another one I can't believe got knocked out. That just shows you, though. I didn't think he had any chance of getting knocked out.
by Shea Porter. I mean, come on. I mean, this wasn't like.
Well, the thing is, the Democrats, I think, are very good at not presenting who they are. When people go to the polls in November, I believe most of them think of Carol Shea Porter as being a moderate Democrat. Or
Have you ever heard her talk?
no, well, I'm saying
neither have they.
I'm saying the perception.
Yeah.
But you and I, having worked with these people up in Concord, know how far way to the left they really
Far
are.
way to the left.
I mean, it's not even.
And that's also this party of them has become, that's like their religion. They don't stray. You know, I tell people this all the time. You guys think about two really key votes the past session. One of them was redistricting, which is boring as hell. But the point is, especially in Nashua, to go against what we did there. All Democrats did. Every Democrat, if you know, except there was one, and then he redid it afterwards. They all voted down the lines against it because
Right.
it's a party issue. The other one was voter ID. Not one Democrat voted against that, and I guarantee you
We voted for voter ID.
voted for voter ID. I'm talking about mostly the override, but
Okay.
that if they ask their neighbors and their constituents, there's going to be a good percentage of them that are Democrats that would say, oh, what's wrong with voter ID? I got to show it anywhere I go anyways. I
Right.
don't mind that.
I have to have one to get on a bus, so what's the big deal?
Exactly.
Well, it's the same thing with parental notification. Okay, even if you're pro-life, like Matt's pro-choice, and you're pretty middle of the road,
Yeah, I'm pretty centrist,
right?
I think.
But
Some people say I'm liberal.
but he's in favor of parental notification. If you ask 90% of the voters out there, do you believe that a 14-year-old kid should be required to get permission from the parents, or the parents should be notified or something? Almost everybody agrees with that.
Right, it's, yeah.
well, you'll see.
But guess
They're not
what?
the Democrats
That's going to
in
be
the
one of the
House.
first things
Oh, yeah.
that's going to be one of the first things they overturn in the New Hampshire legislature, because those aren't the Democrats that you voted for. The Democrats that go to Concord are completely different than what you think you voted for.
They're not the moderate Democrat at all.
Not even in the ballpark.
Not even in the
And they're
ballpark.
supported, their biggest donor is Planned Parenthood. So we talk about NRA, that's their NRA. right
Yeah,
there.
that's true.
I mean, I went through it. I went through the first term when I was in the same position you're in.
Right.
And then the last term we repealed it. That was my big thing. Is I'm in surgical sales in my real job, and to think you're going to let someone do a medical procedure on your daughter and not tell you is
Right.
retarded.
Well, the way I look at it is, I mean,
And
you
they
know,
don't consider it a medical
No.
procedure.
right, but we exist in an era where if your kid, if the school nurse wants to give your kid an aspirin for something, they got to get your permission,
Right.
but a kid can go have an abortion without any.
And when the
No
kid
doctor.
when the
Right.
kid gets that non-invasive procedure and there's a complication, now it's your responsibility though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
exactly.
Now
exactly.
you can't like
Yeah.
there's certain things you can't make up, and that's one of them.
Yes.
But they do it fine.
They're all good with it. And if you looked at the vote that John's got, they voted lockstep. It was like not even close.
And see, that's why we have a hard time.
I figured out.
What?
I figured this out. I figured something out. 'Cause I'm
did?
I'm wicked smart.
You are, yes.
Calculator.
Yeah, no. We were having the debate on the gun issue today, and I was looking around, and I noticed that the difference one thing they've done differently is they've integrated all the Democrats and Republicans.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it used to be, they had sections 1, 2, 3, and we had 1, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
This time, it's all integrated, and I thought it was to try to build some sort of camaraderie and get people out of their comfort zone and talk to each other. And then I realized what it really was. What it really is all about, if somebody does go nuts from the balcony, they're not going to know exactly what section to shoot at.
I never really thought of that.
That must be
I
what
told
it
you,
is.
I tell him I'm a genius all the
Yes,
time. He doesn't
yes.
Because
quite-
that's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and they're going to put you in a pod.
Do you think they'll do that too?
I think they probably started in some cases.
Some of them are already
A while ago,
pawed.
yeah. Well, you see that there'll be one less chance, though, to disrupt the apple cart. What I was telling you last night,
Yeah.
the AG came down with his ruling today regarding Stacy Lawton.
Oh, yeah. He's not in that district, but it's the Nashua
Is he
issue.
going to allow it?
No.
What can you explain what that is?
What I don't understand, why it took so long to figure it out, but what it is basically in the New Hampshire Constitution, you cannot be a felon with your sentence unserved or completed and be a state official.
Okay.
No, not be a state official. It's you can't run.
You
for
can't
office.
run.
You can't run, and that was the rub because
Yeah,
she
it's a
had
catch-22.
already run and won. So she had
Right.
already gotten through that hurdle, but now she was going to be sworn in, and there was really nothing to speak to that.
Also,
So then she resigned, and then she
She's
did
not
resign.
prosecuted for voter,
well, she also was the
not fraud, but
selectman
she's, yeah.
for the election, resided over that election.
No way.
Yeah. So she decided to, because now that everyone knew she wasn't hiding anything, and I hate saying he.
Okay.
There was no operation there, so
Oh, there wasn't an
No.
operation? I have no clue.
That's from what I understand. No.
I
So
know
to
that when I
me-
saw the picture, I was not attracted.
So he's a transgender.
Transgender
Okay.
in
Teenage
process,
Okay, gotcha.
which, as we know, is
That's
not
something
exactly a
Oh.
inexpensive surgery.
It's like not like when Gary puts high heels and.
No,
and
no,
like
no,
that
that's
on.
different. That's
not
no,
like
yeah, it's
that.
not that.
Right.
No.
No.
Why
This,
not?
this guy, this person really believes it.
Oh yeah, I don't believe it.
Right, when you get
Yeah.
your lipstick and your
No,
nightgown
no,
and
no,
your high
no.
heels on.
Like
You
she does
know
every
that
night.
It's not real.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just a lifestyle thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
knows that it's not real.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Dinner wear.
Anyway,
So then he changed his mind and decided to run again. So the filing deadline was last Friday, and then I guess because of the holiday, the AG came down with the ruling today. But I just don't know why it took so
took
long.
him so long, right?
Why can't you just read it? Here it is.
Wait, I'm confused. Run again. So he resigned.
Because there's a special election because there's an empty seat.
Yeah.
But how can-
there's two empty seats in Nashville, right?
No.
But
I
how
thought some
can-
other guy had to resign because he moved.
There's one in Manchester.
Oh, that's Manchester.
Yeah, I don't. Not that I'm aware of.
Manchester
No,
has a
not in
special
Nashville.
I'm missing something though. How can he run again? Or did he?
He resigned.
But he resigned. But at some point he served out his sentence from the felony or something.
No. So he's on suspended sentence still.
Oh, he's on a suspended sentence. Okay.
Right. So that means the sentence is still active. So in other words, if he gets picked up for jaywalking, whatever, you violated your probation and
Right.
you serve the rest of your sentence. I don't remember
Okay.
the details, like a 4-year sentence, and he served like 8 months of it or something like
Oh,
that.
okay.
So theoretically, the book is still open because I believe it's like a 10-year suspension.
Yeah.
And
there's some
again, don't quote me in
restitution also, I
the
think.
numbers. But yeah, there's restitution still owed to him.
He hasn't paid.
He hasn't
Right.
paid.
Right. So anyway, the AG. So last night when I called him, he was saying that he had re-upped to run for that seat, that he had vacated by quitting, which is
Which is-
insane. It's wicked insane.
Wow.
But today the AG said.
So
no,
we would
he-
have a special election for another. It saved the city of Nashville $2,800, I believe, is the headline I read today on the patch, because now there was going to be a primary for the Democrats
Yeah.
That's it, $2,800.
for the primary, because it was just one party, I guess.
They can
Because
put
there's
that
only,
towards their rail now.
I guess it could do it toward the rail, yeah,
Yeah.
monorail. Now you can have an actual monorail instead of just a rail.
By the way, Little Mel just texted and says transgender is the umbrella term. When they are getting the surgery, it's transsexual. Okay.
Right.
Mel knows.
What was it when we were
does.
kids though? See, they changed that too, right? Wasn't
We
it
didn't have
transvestite?
those
What
when
do you
I
call
was
it?
kids.
Well, transvestite, I think, is just someone who dresses up.
So how do
Not,
you?
not that I know from personal experience, but someone who dresses up but doesn't actually.
I want to know what.
intend
So
to
when do you
make the
become a
change.
transgender?
Well, I think that's when you actually go through the.
That would be a
change.
transferring to a gender. That would be the word.
So in other words, again, we went
in
through
a
this,
process.
which
We're in
you'll
a
get again
process.
too. You guys will get it. The bathroom
Transgender.
bill. So now I can say, think about this.
Yes.
Because I heard the testimony. If I say that I'm feeling like a woman today,
Which
I
you
can
say
go
all
use
the
the women's
time.
bathroom.
Which you said all the time.
I mean, everyone knows
Well, I
that.
heard you singing that Shania Twain song when
Exactly.
you walked in. That
Exactly.
made me feel like
So
that.
then I can go in and do it.
Right.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
remember we made fun of the $80,000 bathroom?
Yes.
With Norelli?
Yes.
So that's my point. It's such a broad term, pardon the pun. Broad term.
I'm sorry.
It's not
Get
diagnosable.
that?
It's
I don't know.
an
Can
illness.
we use puns on this show?
No, I'm not allowed to.
There's no way to. How do you?
You can't diagnose it. You can't
No.
prove it. You can't even ask somebody, "Hey, what are you doing in the?" You know, you're a woman couldn't ask a guy in the woman's bathroom, "What are you doing in here?" Because
That's a hate crime.
Yeah, they had tied that in with the hate crime with.
So the bill was really that broad? It was that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was bad. And it was focusing
And
on
Norelli
10
was
or 12 or
Norelli's
15.
the one who pushed that through. She, they
She
get.
spoke on it. She came down off the speaker's podium and down into the well and spoke on it.
Yeah, last year when
horrifying.
O'Brien booted me out for not voting right to work, okay, the Democrats, oh, that's horrible, and all this stuff. I says, well, it's better than the Democrats who were threatened with their seats if they didn't vote for the bathroom bill.
Right.
See, I don't remember how strong they got in the bathroom.
Oh,
Gay
they were
marriage
strong.
was
It
strong.
was really
I
strong.
talked to one of the committee chairs, and they were still upset that they had voted for that.
It was horrifying. I mean, it was so open-ended that you could there would be no limit to
This
it.
would let a man follow your daughter into the bathroom.
Yeah.
And there's not a thing anybody can do because he's not diagnosed with a real diagnosis from a doctor. It can come and go, and he just may happen to feel like it that morning. So he's a woman that day.
Yeah,
But he may just be a pedophile that is following young kids in the bathroom.
Right.
And then we were trying to stop this. I mean, we were horrified.
Yeah, it actually passed the House under the Democrats, under Terry Norelli. It didn't make it through the Senate because the public opinion was so strong
Yeah.
that it didn't make it through the Senate, but it passed the House of
Yeah,
New
it was
Hampshire.
horrifying.
This is
It
how
was
far
just-
left they are,
Right.
and yet people just voted them all in.
Right. People don't understand how far left, but
You keep, hey John, you keep pushing that away from
I'm
me. But
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know, but right.
Transvestite is someone who dresses up for sexual pleasure, she says.
Well, what if you just do it for fun then?
Oh, what without fun,
sick,
fun
yeah.
without pleasure?
Right.
I don't know.
I
don't know if I
Gary,
can
what
separate
do you
them.
call it?
Yeah. Well, this is getting weird.
Does it make you feel good?
Yeah. What do you call it, Gary?
Yeah, exactly. Good
Do you
point.
want some? I still have those nuts if you want.
No, that's all right.
Okay.
No,
never mind.
good, good. We're not
Sorry.
going
Off-air joke. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah. So anyway, one of the funniest things in committee, because we're on the Judiciary Committee, was there was a bill in there to require courthouses to have a lockbox so that people could have guns, could go into court and bring a gun in with them. Okay.
Yeah.
And this was something that was very, really important to the other representative that sat next to Pete was Brandon Gaida. Okay, so Brandon's saying something like that. And now you had an experience where you saw somebody, you knew somebody got shot in a courtroom or something.
No. Well, I knew of they came out of the courthouse. The
Okay.
guy shot his wife, cop, after a divorce
Okay,
Outside of the
in
courthouse?
Connecticut. Yeah,
Wow.
killed her.
and you knew them, or you just knew the
I
case?
knew I was good friends with his son's best friend. I met one of his sons.
Okay. So it was kind of a personal issue to you because the way he reacted to it was just great. Because Pete says, what kind of moron would bring a gun into a courtroom? And Gaida got so pissed.
Really?
Oh, yeah, they were going back and forth for like 5 minutes. I wished I had like a camcorder or something because it was awesome.
I mean, there are limits. I mean, look at even like in the Western days, you couldn't take your gun into court.
Right.
I mean, that's as free as you could be with a gun because someone's gonna get pissed
Is
off
that
at a
state or
verdict.
federal? I know it is for schools. It's state or federal. You can't go in a courtroom.
I think that's federal.
You can't go into a federal
I don't-
building without you can't go
Yeah.
into a federal building with a gun.
But isn't
Yeah.
a court?
Like you can't even go into a post office.
Yeah, but
with
isn't
a
a
gun.
court a direct kind of lineage from federal courts? I mean, down through that
don't know.
court business.
I think that's a
is
state law. That's a
That's
state
a state law.
I believe
I
so.
really don't know what that is, but
I believe so.
I think it's a good idea not to take a gun into a courtroom. But we don't know who has them. And now we hear that some lawyers have them in the courtrooms.
Yeah, today
Does
the
the judge
testimony.
have a gun in the courtroom? I don't know.
He could.
He
He's allowed to. It's his courtroom.
Yeah, I think a judge can.
Well, I don't know.
I mean,
the point is, I
the
don't
guards
know.
have them.
Yeah, there's
Right, yeah.
another one said that the,
Does a lawyer have one in his briefcase? I mean, I don't know. Does he have one?
yeah,
Does he
well,
go through the metal
that was the
detector?
testimony today, that because a lawyer is an officer of the court,
Right.
he can have one.
You guys had hearings?
Interesting.
No, that was, I shouldn't say hearing it, that testimony for the gun.
Oh, I see. I see.
That's what they were
Kinda.
talking
I
about.
got you.
Which is funny because if you're a lawyer and you're an officer of the court and you're elected, you're an officer of the general court, aren't those conflicting if there's supposed to be a wall of separation between church and state, between the judiciary and the legislative branch? Isn't there a conflict?
There's a lot of conflict.
There's a
I'm
huge
sure.
conflict, and there's conflicts all over the place. You know, the judiciary, and if who's
Keep
on?
pushing that away from me.
I'm sorry. I know.
I got a hand grenade, John.
You gotta glue it.
I know, right?
Yeah. He can't talk without having his hands full.
Yeah,
You know the three branches of government: judicial, executive, and legislative. If you are not a member of the bar, you cannot participate in the judicial branch of government. So really, there's two branches of government and one for the first-class citizen, because you think you can grow up to be president, you think you can grow up to be a senator, you think you can grow up to be the governor, you think you can grow up to be any part of any branch of government. It's not true. The only way you can participate in the judicial branch is to pay your bar dues, membership,
Union dues.
union dues.
all
So
it
you
is.
can't be a judge, you can't be an attorney.
That's not true. You don't have to be a judge to be appointed a judge. I mean, you don't have to be a lawyer or be a member of the bar to be appointed a judge by the executive council. I don't think that's a requirement.
I think you're
Well,
right.
you
Liz.
should-
I think we heard that in judiciary. That was some argument over that this past term.
Yeah.
You don't think every judge is a member of the bar?
Oh, I'm sure
it
they
is.
are. But I don't think that's a requirement. Your argument is you have to be, and I don't think you have to be. I mean, I could, because I've been on judiciary so long and I know so much about the law, could theoretically,
No, you couldn't. You could not be a judge. Not because you don't know.
Let him have this, John. It's all he's got.
Not because you wouldn't be a good judge. You couldn't be a judge
why not?
because you didn't pay your bar dues.
No, I
membership.
disagree. I think
They are appointed, so
they're appointed.
Yeah.
I don't think you have
you have a
to.
homework assignment up
Oh,
next week
there's a lot of work
What's
to
that?
be a judge.
to show them the statute that
There's a
I don't
lot of
care.
work to be a
It's my
judge.
show. I can just say
He
stuff
can
that's
say whatever he
true.
wants. This is just like,
You know what just occurred to me? There's a machine here. I
This
could
is
probably
like-
find out.
yeah.
we actually did have that argument though.
I'm sure I
There
heard
was
that from
something in
Mursky
judiciary.
a lot of years ago. That Mursky could theoretically become a judge.
Theoretically,
Right.
but he couldn't. But I
It's
don't-
not likely. It's not likely that the executive council and governor are going to agree to put somebody as a judge that doesn't have any experience in court or on the court. But I don't think it's a requirement.
Or the county attorney. He shouldn't be a member of the bar, and he's representing the people that voted him in there.
Why
But-
shouldn't he be a member of the bar?
Because he's got an oath to the bar. How can he take an oath to the people? He takes the same oath. I've got the Attorney General's oath, for
Maybe
instance.
that's the one I'm thinking of. Is the county attorney doesn't have to be a lawyer.
The county attorney doesn't have to be a lawyer.
Right.
But the county attorney,
Same thing with a sheriff. A county sheriff doesn't have to be a cop.
correct. That's right, he doesn't.
Right.
But he's got a much better chance. But
I think it's kind of the same thing. If you're going to hire somebody as your county attorney, you would think they'd have at least a rudimentary understanding of what the heck's going on in the courtroom, and
well, the people vote you in.
right.
And the point is that the people vote you in, but if you've got your...
John, they voted me in.
Right. But they...
Did I win that argument?
There
Yes.
you go.
Bam!
There you
You
go.
did it.
You did.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right.
There you go. See?
You could be a judge.
There you go. There you go.
Hey, where did David Cody wind up?
I don't know. I didn't look. I don't know him that well.
That's surprising to me that I think now he's the longest sitting legislator
Really?
consecutively.
I don't know. No, they
Marge
put
is on judiciary,
Not the
right?
oldest.
Yeah, they made
The
her
longest
the
consecutive
chairman. And I heard she doesn't really have much of a sense of humor.
Not from what I saw.
And she's
Yeah.
not going to like me a lot.
No, she'll get you thrown
She'll
out.
love you.
I predict
think she'll get me thrown
yeah,
out?
Gary's
Come
going to
on.
be back in fishing game by
Yeah.
February. She won't put up with you.
Oh, it's too bad
Yeah,
for
she's
her.
supposed to be like, not exactly a Jackie Gleason type.
Not exactly,
That's from
no.
what I hear now.
Oh,
I mean, I wasn't on finance. She was my first term.
right.
And you remember she was the head of finance. And I can remember when she'd get on the weld, she just scared me walking there. Never mind when she started talking.
What do you mean?
Just not a very friendly looking sort.
No,
Maybe
no.
maybe the New Hampshire Bar Association website, Matt.
Oh, we have a call. Maybe this is someone who knows. Hi, welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. Who's on the line?
Steve,
Hi, Steve.
how you doing?
Good.
Just want to mention something about the problem with Mitt Romney and the Republican Party you mentioned earlier. I think what killed Romney is when they showed the video of the 47 percenters.
Oh,
Yeah, that was huge. yeah.
huge damage. I absolutely agree. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No way to defend it.
That was huge. I mean, every liberal network except Fox, they were playing that over and over and over. I saw it so many times I couldn't count. Also, remember that something about Mitt Romney did something where guys, was it a guy or his wife that was going to die? Made his wife die of
his
cancer,
wife.
and they actually had a commercial for it.
Yeah, that was a guy who died because
His wife died.
their wife died because he lost insurance because he was no longer employed at a company that I don't think Romney was even still
Yeah, he was
in
gone for
charge of.
5
He
years.
had been gone for 5 years, but they still blamed the death of this guy's wife on Romney for Bain Capital getting rid of the company or
That's
laying him
exactly
off
right,
or
yeah.
whatever it was.
They bought it out.
Right. Also, remember the debates where Romney had a chance at jumping all over Obama. Remember he did turn to him and he said to him, what about the Benghazi deal? Why didn't you call it a terrorist act? I forget the moderator's name, but the moderator
Andy Crowley.
jumped in. She shouldn't have done, but she jumped in and said that he did call it a terrorist act.
Steve,
Well,
Steve,
that's true.
it was a lot worse than that. If
Yeah, but listen, but they went back on that. They went back on the tape, and he never said it was a terrorist attack. But she jumped in, which a moderator shouldn't be doing that. She
Steve, just a second.
It was 2 against 1.
No, it was worse than what it was worse than that, because not only did he say I did say that, and she said yes he did. He turned to her. Obama turned to the moderator and said, "Look at your notes."
Run that tape. He said, "Run that
No,
tape
He
back."
said, can we check the transcript? Was
Yeah,
his
but
exact words.
he pointed to her stuff that she had on the desk. They had coordinated before that debate ever happened.
I disagree. I think you're getting conspiratorial. I
Matt was mentioning
disagree.
before, he must be living on cloud nine about. He thinks that Obama's not going to do anything about the gun laws.
I must be?
I don't know if he watches the news at all, but do you remember
Yes, I do. I know where this is going. I don't agree with you, so I must not watch the news. I'm uninformed.
Did you watch?
I couldn't possibly have my own brain and my own opinion. We deal with Steve a lot. I'm sorry, yes. Yes, go ahead.
Remember Katrina?
Yes, I do remember Katrina. I watched the news, yes.
Okay, but Katrina, what did the police people? What did they do? Going against the Second Amendment, what did they do? They walked into an old lady's house.
Yeah, Gary talked about that recently, yes.
And took her gun away.
Yeah, I disagree with that. That shouldn't have happened.
But you don't remember that.
Gary explained it. I remember Gary explaining it. What's your point?
Let me explain it, but what I'm saying to you is you said earlier that you don't believe that Obama isn't going to do anything. It's all leading up to all this stuff.
I think it's politically suicidal, and I think the NRA basically owns both parties in Washington. And this is just my opinion. I might be wrong, but I think when Democrats kind of put on this little show about we're going to do something about guns, I don't think it's actually going anywhere. I think it's to appease the liberal base. That's my theory. I may be wrong.
All right, Steve, I'm shutting you off at 4 minutes.
All right, Steve.
Have a good night, buddy.
One other thing too, is that you mentioned, I think.
No, we don't have time, Steve. We'll talk to you next week. I'm
Thanks
sure.
for calling, Steve, but after about 4 or 5 minutes, you got to cut it
Yeah.
shorter. It becomes a Steve show. Yeah, I disagree with Matt on this. I agree with Steve. I think they're going to go for the gold. Absolutely going to go for the gold. They're going to use those little kids as their banner. They'll walk around with pictures of those. The NRA had a press conference. They waited like a week or so till things calmed down, or tried to.
Right.
And they had these cotton-picking left-wing nutbags walking in front of what's it?
Yeah, I forget his
Spokesman for the
name.
NRA, Pierre.
Wayne LaPierre.
Wayne LaPierre, with signs saying the NRA killed the babies or killed the children and all this other crap. I believe that you're absolutely wrong. I think they're going to go for the jugular, and I think I'm really paranoid. I believe.
I'm not saying don't be vigilant.
No, I'm not. I'm beyond vigilant.
No,
I believe it's very possible that Obama is going to use this as a way to consolidate power. He's going to go for the jugular, and when some of the nutcases out there go nuts, he's going to kill them and suppress them and say, this is the reason we got to get rid of guns, and then he's going to go for taking them all back also.
You think it's going to be martial law?
Yep.
That's what's
And the UN and the U.S. military and who knows are going to come here and
The ends justify, and a lot of politicians, it's not an exclusively Democrat thing. In a lot of politicians' minds, the ends justify the means. And if you could get just a few people to rebel, push the limit just enough to get a few people to rebel, that gives you the impetus or the motivation to say, see, we can't let these normal people or the taxpayers have these quote-unquote type of guns. Because I know I was on Facebook, and a friend of mine who I really like said that old thing about, well, you don't need those for hunting. The cotton-picking American people have been told for the last 20-plus years that the reason you have the Second Amendment is to go hunting. And most people who don't own guns or aren't following the issue actually believe that. They really believe that the whole purpose of the Second Amendment is so maybe you could defend yourself in your house and so that you could go hunting. Which has really nothing to do with the Second Amendment.
Right,
It's
right.
all about balance of power and making sure that balance of power maintains in the hands of the people. And I think Obama would like nothing better than to get those guns off the streets from law-abiding citizens. They would stay in the hands of the criminals.
Yeah.
but-
I think it would be politically suicidal, and I think you
What
never.
what does he care?
Well, his party cares.
I don't know.
He's going to wreck it for if the scenario you proposed were to happen.
Yep.
This country would never elect another Democratic president. The South would never. No Democrat would ever carry another southern state.
I disagree.
Really?
I disagree, yep. Because after what would happen is, and if you look at Germany, what happened in Germany is they create a crisis
Yeah.
and then squelch the crisis and say, see how much safer everybody is. And if they can push until they get enough of the right-wing nutcases, because there are people that are pretty close to the edge now.
Sure.
It wouldn't take a lot of prodding to just get them to go to that next step and start shooting. I don't know what they do, shoot cops.
like the Civil War,
Well, yeah,
like
kind of like that.
like they did one time.
Yeah, like if somebody actually opened up fire in the New Hampshire legislature from the balcony and things like that, and some sort of mini revolution, because they'd suppress that quickly. They'd be able to get rid of that quick. But once they get rid of it, they'd go into the homes and they'd find all these guns, and there'd be assault weapons and these guns. See, we got to get rid of this. It's just ridiculous.
But if that's the end game, why not do that after Columbine or something else big, or the Batman thing that happened, or
Because I don't think that's enough. I think they have to push far enough to get a reaction, and then once they get the reaction, they can go for the goal.
Pushing into a race ride is what he's doing. I remember the one in the 60s in Connecticut. They burned Waterbury to the ground.
Really?
And that was a long time
Why do you think
before-
it's a race thing, though?
Because that's what he's going to push.
You think
That's
so?
the button he's going to push.
I think that's even more politically suicidal than trying to take people's guns.
That's not the amount of votes, though. He gets the whole black vote. It still doesn't take the whole thing. I think that's what he's going to push.
Because he doesn't. The thing is, he doesn't have to worry about getting reelected. If it's all about power, if you can push far enough and get a
Why not
reaction.
have an executive order to get his third term?
This isn't about getting reelected. I think for him, I'm not sure about the race thing. I really don't know, but I haven't given that a thought at all. But I think what he's doing is trying to drive down the American dollar. I think he's trying to literally drive this country into a place of no return. And I think he's doing a great job of it.
Yep.
So I don't.
Wow, you guys are really.
I
Do you assume he's a Kenyan-born Muslim sympathizer whose
No, I don't.
goal
I
it is
think
to destroy the?
no.
country
I think he's a. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
think-
possible.
I don't think it's.
That's
any-
how you guys are talking.
No.
well, no, but it's possible, and I don't know who this. I don't know who he is. I mean,
Guy wasn't vetted. He wasn't vetted.
I don't know him.
No,
I didn't vote for him. I don't know who he is.
I don't think it's got anything to do with being Kenyan or anything else. I think he's a globalist. I think he believes the only way for there to be a new world order and a new global government is for the American government to be knocked down a few pegs. I think that's what it's all about. I think if you listen to what he says, he doesn't have a lot of regard for American or
We're the
anything
wealthiest
else.
country on this globe. We have so much, and everybody wants a piece of it. And I'm not convinced that he's not going to try to just give it away to some of
You
his
can't be
friends.
raised by that. I always forget the guy's name from Hawaii. There, is it Marshall? I always
Marshall Dillon.
Yeah, Marshall Dillon. Him and Festus. What's the guy's name?
I have no idea.
He was a black activist in the 40s and 50s, a card-holding communist, and that's who raised Obama when he came from Indonesia to Hawaii. That's who raised him. That was
Right.
his father's friend. You can't hang around that guy and love America. You can't hang around Reverend Wright and love America. You just can't do it. It's just like we think alike, we hang around together. It's the same thing. If you're raised by somebody like that, unless you hated him, he calls him that was his
Mentor.
mentor.
Well, he said the same thing about Reverend Wright.
That's what I'm saying.
But then, until actually some of his sermons came out, and then all of a sudden he
Well, the other
distanced
guy's
himself.
dead anyway.
Yeah.
I gotta
So,
figure out his name, but that movie 2016, and I love the way he did
I haven't
that.
actually seen that.
You have to see it because the way
I
he
don't have
did it
to.
is really done well.
You can't make me.
He compares the Indian.
If you buy me dinner first, I'll go with
No,
it.
I get you. Well, if it's Indian, we'll get you some.
It's five of.
You got to see it though, Gary.
I do.
Just make you mad though. I don't know if you wouldn't want to see it.
Nah, I'm wicked pissed. right
I'm
now.
sure you won't find it being shown at the local high schools. Let's put it that way.
No, they have to put the inconvenient truth aside for 5 minutes and quit repeating that over and over. Hey, anyway. Now, Matt's scared to be here, which is
No. This is I always love this.
Matt's scared to
I
be
just-
here. And that's good. That's good. I like to keep him a little nervous. Otherwise, he gets too comfortable.
Yeah,
But
that's you're probably right.
yes. But anyway, thanks, Matt. John Heichel, thanks for coming back up this year. That was crazy. Pete, I miss you. You're a fun
Yeah.
guy to be around. We used to argue with each other all the time, but it was always fun.
Yeah.
It was always fun. He's a good guy.
Not about politics.
We argued anyway.
Just one
Does it
issue.
matter? What one? Oh yeah, the right to work thing. Oh yeah, forget about that. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Gary.
you. It was
Good luck
great.
up there,
Yeah.
boys.
Hey,
You bet. Thanks, Peter.
Hey, good luck.
Seeing you. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you all next week.